Oh wait. No, I'll just do me. I might do it as a midway point if I could just take a break. I can just share my screen or no?
Yeah, you can. I'll be able to know when you have a video ready to go on this, but everything you can
Okay,
pop
that's
everything
fine.
pop up here.
That's fine.
You just gotta make sure it's full screen because it will show the desktop background.
Okay.
Okay. Reception, reception, reception. Good. Whew. Prayer and all right, ready to run?
Hold on. Um,
Oh shoot! Oh wow. Let me get this. All right, you're live.
oh, I'm live already?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
shit.
just hit that.
All right, what up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Pearl Daily here on the Audacity Network. So we are streaming live from my brand new studio. So as you guys know, I obviously in the wake of things, I'm not gonna, say where I moved, but I recently moved and we have a brand new studio. So we're gonna cheers to that. I have a chalice, so my producers. Okay, so I want to talk about why I started my show in the first place. And what really, I guess, pushed me to have a show like this. In part of it, it's got to be that I'm a woman and I just love attention. I mean, let's just be honest here. That's got. I mean, not like consciously, because in my front brain, I don't really think that's there. But in like my hind brain somewhere, it's got to be. But I think more than that, what has been really important to me is I always loved having a space where we could just talk about ideas. And talk about ideas freely, where you're just not judged for having different thoughts and having different opinions. And you can just go back and forth with people. I always imagined that safe spaces wouldn't be the safe spaces we have today. Like now we have these safe spaces. And the safe spaces, what they are, is they are safe spaces where you can't say anything. Like my version of a safe space is a place where anyone can say anything and you get like immunity. Where we could go back and forth about these ideas to figure out the best way to think or the best way to go forward. And you get immunity, nobody can use it against you later. No, and obviously the internet can't be that. But that's really just like what I had in mind, a place where, I think I'm going to do a morning show one of these days called Hear Me Out, where I bring on a liberal and we just have to go back and forth and think, you have to hear me out about this idea. And the liberals could also try to convince me. And I remember one of my first videos that went viral was me actually, I was in England, so I moved from America to London. And when I was there, one of my first, people think that my first viral videos are the panel shows that I did, and it actually wasn't. It was actually a show I did where it would be a long form reaction series. So they'd be 2-3 hour videos. And I would bring in a friend that had never heard of this stuff. And she would sit down and I would explain to her, all the different conservative talking points. I'd show her Jordan Peterson. I'd show her Rollo Tomassi. And it was such a good series because neither of us came into it with an ego. And it was a very like happy back and forth where she'd say, well, I think this way. And I'd say, well, I think this way. And it was just a fun series. And the reason I'm going to preface this when I do today's show is because I do think I'm going to get some sort of backlash and heat for the topic I picked today. Because I think it does seem a little bit insensitive with what's maybe going on. But I do think this is something that's going through a lot of people's minds. And I really just wanted to bring together a platform where we can have a conversation about it. So if you're not willing to listen, I guess, to a conversation that may be a little bit offensive, I would just tune out now. It might be, towing the lines on what's acceptable and what's unacceptable. This is my trigger warning. Not to say this definitely isn't the most controversial show I've done. But I do want to explore, I guess, a certain concept and idea. and a conversation that I've seen circulating on X. So, as you guys know, Charlie Kirk passed away last week. This was a conservative Christian, I would say moderate. And this is a guy, and I think it was especially scary for YouTubers and really America, because Charlie Kirk really is not the most controversial. I mean, I said far worse things than Charlie Kirk said in his career. And again, I've said this on previous shows, but I think a lot of Americans saw, like, when I hear Charlie Kirk talk, I think of the men I grew up around. I really do. I mean, a lot of them had the conservative Christian values. A lot of them believed a lot of the things he believed. He's kind of a normal looking white guy. You know, I grew up around normal looking white guys. So, you know, to see him go, I think that's why it's had such a profound impact, is because a lot of, especially conservative Christian America, you identified with Charlie Kirk. Maybe not, you didn't see you in him, but you knew somebody that reminded you of him. Like he reminds me a little bit of one of my cousins. They kind of have the same vibe, you know, the dorky, hardworking, super positive guy. So since he is passing, I think Americans have gone through a lot of emotions. Not just Americans, but I think YouTubers have gone through a lot of emotions. And it's been, I think his friends, his family has gone through a lot of emotions. And I think a lot of these people, I mean, they're hurt, they're sad, they're devastated, they're scared, you know, they don't feel safe. But I couldn't help when I saw Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica Kirk, and again, I will say, I say this with no hatred in my heart. I say this really more as an observation, not a judgment, because I personally, if I was in her shoes, I can't imagine how I would react. But I have just gotten such a weird, and I hate to say this because it sounds like I'm 5 years old, but an icky feeling from the way that Turning Point and conservatives in general have, it appears to me as a normal person, used the death to raise money, build their brand, and for clout. And I can't help but think that it seems a little bit disrespectful. Now, I'd like to say, this is not me judging them. This is not me saying, oh, I'm holier than thou, I'm better than you. I do not know, if I knew him personally, how I would react. I don't know if I knew him personally, if I'd be angry. I don't know if I'd crash out. I don't know. I can't say. I met him once at an event like years ago. And I would say I took issues with some of his stances. So I'm not going to come at this from a place of saying I knew him super well. I know how I would do it. But this made me think of the concept in general. Is there a right and a wrong way to mourn? Now, I want to talk about a situation that I personally was in that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with this topic. So, my grandpa died a few years ago. So it was about, I don't know, maybe it feels like forever, between 5 and 10 years ago, I'll say. And I remember on his deathbed, my grandpa, he basically died of old age, right? And I really wasn't that close with him. But when he was dying, I went to go see him. And it was just a weird, I guess, feeling when I went there. And I remember some relatives of mine wanted me to take a picture with him. And a lot of people were taking pictures. And I don't know, I just went with it because, again, death is such a sensitive topic. I thought about this show for like 2 days. I got to be honest. And I think I just have this thing inside of me where I have to be the one to say it. And I think it's something at times I wish I could change. I wish was different, but it's just how I am. It's kind of how I've always been. I'm just that girl that just says things, you know? And at the time, I remember smiling for this picture and going along with it and just feeling like weird. and thinking, is this disrespectful to my grandpa who's literally dying that we're just like taking a pic? To be honest, I felt this in a number of scenarios, not just this situation in itself. So another example is, I think it's, I cannot think of the celebrity's name off the top of my head, but there's a celebrity, and I know that he was a really successful guy. And at one point, I know he was like the Jackie Chan of something. I don't know what. I know this is, as a commentator, I should have this name off the top of my head, but sometimes, I take L's. But this guy, I know his family is making a Hulu series or some sort of series about this guy's cognitive decline because he's no longer the great guy he used to be. I'm sure someone in the chat will know who I'm talking about because this was pretty recent. And there was still just a part of me that, one part of you thinks to the women, it's generally women that tend to, I don't want to say use death for clout, but if I had to use a word to describe it, that's really what I would have to use it to say, right? And there's just a part of me that I just get this sick feeling in my stomach, like this is a little bit off and wrong. But again, you don't want to be, that's why I had to give this, I guess, this forewarning that this is, I feel like I'm having a controversial thought. That's how I feel talking about this. Like, but I just have to, I can't, it's just in me. I have this fire. I have this like thing in my stomach. I just can't. So there's just a part of you that thinks, oof, I don't know if this is respectful. Now, Charlie Kirk's is a little bit different, to be fair. I mean, Charlie Kirk, on the other hand, he had a mission. So he had a mission to spread conservative values to the youth. He had a mission to raise a bunch of money for conservative causes. So I guess it's not exactly surprising that even his death, they're doing that. But still, there's a part of me that I just get this icky feeling. Now, I tweeted this the other day, and I'm going to show you the video that really, I guess, inspired this tweet. I said, I have no hatred in my heart when I say this, but watching Erica Kirk post Charlie Kirk's dead body on social media, as well as the marketing campaign after, just gives me a weird feeling. Now, I want to go through some of the responses people had because I do think these are fair responses, and I don't necessarily have a feeling one way or the other. I don't think this is a right or a wrong conversation, but it is a conversation I'm really just interested in getting the public's opinion on and seeing what people have to say. We're going to do a call-in later this show because I just have to, ask the question. Now, I'd like to say I am not accusing Erica Kirk of doing this when I say this, but I'm going to say women in general. Our strategy generally is to get as much attention as possible because that brings in male suitors either directly or indirectly. That's why I give a lot of pushback when women use their relationship to build their brand, because you're bringing attention to the relationship. It becomes marketing for the next relationship. I am not accusing her. I do not think that is what she is doing from what I have seen. However, it's still, again, it just gives me a weird feeling. So I want to give some of the, we had Luffy in the chat saying hypergamy doesn't care. We had Reclaim Your Throne saying exactly. Why is it controversial to say this? So there's some people that do agree with me, and I do feel and hear that sentiment on X, People are kind of saying, is this a respectful thing to do? Is this a bad way to honor the dead? And I don't have your comments on, guys, because I have to give these thoughts without, I'm going to read if you're in the chat giving supers or whatever, I will read it, but I just knew if I gave this monologue and you guys started crashing out, it would make me feel like a bad person. So I'm just going to have to go through it. And then I'll get your feedback. Now, I'm wondering if this is my cousin. I think this might be my cousin, but I'm not sure. Bacon. I think that's my cousin. He said, people are motivated like never before. In 2 months, no one will care or will donate. If you want Charlie's legacy to be funded for decades, you do it now. 3 months from now, maybe you got a year. Does it suck? Yes. Does it feel icky? Sure, but it's human nature. Sales 101. I don't know. I want to make a joke about a certain group of people. It feels a bit, but I can't say it. But the Groypers will get it. The Groypers will get it. So, okay, so as I tell my students, and some people are saying, Pearl, what are you, 12? You know, sometimes I act like it. I hate to keep saying I'm a woman, but you know what I mean? It's kind of like when the men stare at the boobs and people are like, why are you staring at the boobs? And then you're like, well, he's a man. That's kind of how I feel when, you know, we say that female nature applies to me too. Obviously. Duh. Sorry. All right. Who doesn't have the language for internal chaos? Come on. Describe what you are feeling. Or if you have thoughts, precisely state them. Okay. I think that's fair. I think deep down in my psyche, I feel as though this is disrespectful to make money, clout farm off of the dead. Maybe it's hypocritical me saying this as I make this a show topic, but I feel guilty saying that because it's such a sad situation. Maybe that's the best way I could put it. If you think she's in control of the marketing campaign, I don't know if she's in control. Probably not, right? That man lived in the public eye. Better that they control the outflow of photos, and then it's a better narrative than letting TMZ run with it. Okay, that's a good point. Then I get the same, you can't be more jealous of her. That's usually what I get from the women. It's always valid concern, valid point, you're jealous. I'm not even, I mean, that I don't even want to, this situation is sad. I don't think it's really people don't understand how some female presidents from different countries used to rise to power after their husband dies. This is the same scenario. Matthew says, I totally agree, but I doubt she's the one running her own socials right now. Okay. Then someone else said, we need a movement to change things. In particular, worrying about who's benefiting won't help the situation. Everyone needs a rally for thee. Oftentimes, you are clairvoyant and extremely helpful in doing what you do. Please don't turn into Ann Coulter. Aw, I liked Ann Coulter, but... So, I mean, that's really the sentiment. The sentiments I've gotten is some people think it's justified because he had a movement. I think that's a fair argument. Some people think it is too far. I don't know. I saw this. Are we able to share my screen? Yeah? Okay. So it says, this is just sad. This is the video that kind of gave me...
Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. I know. I love you. I love you.
Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah, okay.
I love you. God bless you.
And look, on its surface, that's a heartbreaking video. But I guess there's just part of me that I just get this weird feeling when I see this stuff. It seems a little bit performative and almost, here it says, Erica Kirk, I refuse to let the movement Charlie built die. It will only grow stronger, bolder, louder. Join me, stop to end it. The cries of a widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. The evildoers who took Charlie's life, they have no idea what they have done. If they thought my husband's mission was powerful before, they have no idea what they have just unleashed. Not across the country, but in me. Charlie will always say, never surrender. this is a sad situation and we're asking for donations. I feel guilty that I'm having this thought because of how sad the situation is. But is it okay? Is this right? And the women, when I said, and by the way, I'm really not passing a judgment. Who's to say how, the right way to react? But, I've seen the same situation in my personal life and people I know where women tend to make it a social media campaign. So while I'm going to use this as an example today, this is not the only example that I can think of. And the women, they're mad at me. They say, sit this one out. Reclaim says this is worse than posting a GoFundMe. Luffy says she will take a lover to your funeral. Leonarda, and I'm going to send her the link. We'll see if she calls in. She says you're not wrong. I guess this is how House of Cards ended. I've never seen House of Cards, so I don't know. Leor, she's called into the show, says it's too soon. Didn't he have a protege or an apprentice he was training for a reality such as this? The reality, is she liked him because he was famous and he liked her because she was a hot blonde. There's no surprise here. I didn't say that. I'm just reading these. She's braver than me for putting that one out there. I've been getting them too, all the money that has been pledged to his wife and children. It feels strange asking the common man for donations. I own a business. My lineage doesn't have 12 million yet or celebrities sending money. I love Charlie, but come on. How can I afford a road trip to go and pay tribute to a deck of millionaires? The donations were there before, nothing's changed. I don't know. I personally, I don't have an answer to this. I don't have a right or wrong. And I'm giving my thoughts. Yeah, so let's see. So I really just wanted to have a public discussion. My screen's not up anymore, right? No? Okay, I'm going to send this link to people. And we'll see who calls in. And then Leonardo. Oh, I guess she's on a beach, but if she has time. Do we want to bring Doug MPA up in a second? I'm just going to send this out to people. Okay. So my question is there a right and a wrong way to mourn? We don't have to make it specific. I'm not trying to, Is there a right and a wrong way to mourn a tragedy? Because I always hear that there is no wrong way to mourn. But I have seen ways that people have mourned that just make me very uncomfortable. I'll give you another example before I accept the callers. Is that, when I was growing up, we did have somebody that passed away. I always have to be broad in these stories so people don't go find them. And I remember one of the relatives of this person, it was her brother that died. And I don't know, it just seemed like the funeral and everything, it was like she had pictures at the funeral, she had videos from the funeral, there was a post every day. It just seemed like the funeral became clout chasing. And I hate saying that, but that's just what it seemed like. And it just did not seem like a genuine moment of grieving. So anyways, I'm going to add in Doug MPA. And, he's going to be the brave. And then, I think I have an account. Okay, well, we're going to, well, I'll let Doug talk and then I'll read the chat and then I'll make a new Zoom link because I think I can log into mine. I'm pretty sure I have premium. Hey, Doug MPA. So I'm good. How are you? So what are your thoughts on the topic? Do you think there's a right and wrong way to grieve or to mourn a tragedy? And how do you feel about the text alerts and that sort of thing? Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People are saying that they can't hear me for some reason.
And can they hear you
Can you,
now?
can you hear me okay?
Let's see.
Hello?
This is a new studio.
Hello?
Hold on. Let's see.
It says muted, moment of silence.
Now
Where's
we
Doug
can.
at?
Now we can.
Okay, cool.
It says now we can. So do you want to
All
say
right.
say what you said again?
Yeah, I think that she's doing too much way too soon. You know who did a really good job of handling the grief was Kobe Bryant's wife.
Oh, she did do a really good
She did a
job.
really good job, man. You know, it didn't feel like she was doing too much. You know, she let the public kind of support her. She let the public kind of let it sink in first, and then people got to digest it themselves. And then she made a statement and stuff. Although it is kind of weird because isn't she with somebody else? And isn't she having somebody else's kid now? I think so.
I mean, come on. Historically, women have had to move on. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't expect her to never have sex. You know, I mean, I know. Look, I understand that people, that's an uncomfortable thing to say, but I think it's kind of silly to expect a woman to like never move on after.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I understand it's uncomfortable, but women move on from men that are alive. Like,
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be interesting to see who Charlie's wife moves on with. But anyway, I think that Charlie's wife is doing way too much, way too soon. That filming, the body thing,
God.
come on, man. Cringe.
Can I?
Cringe.
Okay, wait, hold on one second. Can I launch it on here? I just logged in. Okay, hold on, guys. We're gonna play the commercial. What's in it? So, if you guys want, we're having a Zoom issue because this meeting's about to end. If you guys want, we have a divorce documentary we're trying to raise money for. There's a GoFundMe link in the description. I'm gonna play this ad for it while I fix something. So give me 1 second, guys.
Going viral online of a dozen women being asked the following question: do we need men? Most answered very quickly, no.
Because men are useless. I mean,
this headline from The Hill, it caught my eye. Most young men are single. Most young women are not.
Young men have fallen faster than any demographic in America over the last 40 years.
It's a different world now. Like, we don't need men the way that they used to.
Nobody needs men!
The future is female. Men and women are drifting further apart, and society is crumbling because of it.
A fascinating debate has broken out about the value of marriage.
You've kind of got the trad con versus red pill thing.
This men's rights crowd that sometimes just goes too far the other way.
You need to stop acting like grown boys and infants and actually become men.
Marriage is a bond, and it's a sacred bond.
It's a machine designed to extract resources from you.
Now many of the red-pilled have taken the position that it's bad for men to get married.
Hannah Pearl Davis, or just Pearly things.
One of the most controversial faces in all of the internet.
She goes on to say that marriage is a terrible deal for men.
Because if me and you were in a business contract, you would never sign a contract where I am paid to leave.
Gee, what could go wrong there?
74% or something of divorces are initiated by women. Men have everything to lose, primarily their own children.
Men get killed by the courts and by divorce laws.
I had no idea that courts of family law were courts of equity, not courts of law.
Because in family court, you don't need evidence to accuse someone of abuse. You need no evidence.
When you guys say get married young, a lot of these men don't know what they're signing up for, and you're not going to be there when their entire life falls apart. I interview them on the other side.
I didn't meet my son until he was 15 months old.
How much did you spend trying to get him back?
On legal fees alone was about $200,000.
Before you know it, you're homeless. You're literally just thrown out onto the street.
We absolutely reinforce bad behavior from women.
Wives are taught to leave their husbands, and then daughters grow up without their fathers.
Family is the foundation of society.
Every problem in society comes from single mother homes.
A lot of women will just chase this negative rabbit hole of happiness, endless happiness.
Feminism's biggest failures is it lies to women. We tell women to date as many guys as possible. We tell them to put off family and a marriage.
You are allowed to leave your perfect husband. You are allowed to end a relationship with a really great boyfriend.
Oh, freeze your eggs, have an abortion. What? You're evil.
I don't think there's anything else in life that we actually ever go into preparing to fail.
Right.
Like if you have the mentality of this is going to go wrong and be pessimistic, naturally the outcome is going to be that it's going to fail anyway.
Yeah.
It's self-sabotage.
And that's the thing, like women are so willing to leave marriages because they're not happy. This is not about happiness. The most important thing is the children. And the problem is we have a modern society where it's me, my feelings, leave when I feel like it, instead of doing what's best for the kids.
This myth that we live in an age of male privilege. Where's my male privilege?
They think, well, men have all the rights. They have all the power.
Privileged patriarchal system that we have.
Why doesn't our society care about men's rights?
I have no friends, no wife, and no social life.
Men are alone in this situation. Men are homeless. Men are thinking about eating guns.
I've seen so many men on the brink of suicide and they didn't do anything wrong.
How are you equal if the men are the ones that have to fight and die to defend the country? The men are the ones that build and maintain all the infrastructure.
Women are helplessly dependent upon men. The so-called deaths of despair from suicide, overdose, or alcohol, 3 times higher among men than among women.
Culture is telling men, you are no good.
You got to get your act together.
I think men have failed themselves.
What kind of a man are you? What kind of a woman are you going to attract?
If men are in trouble, so are women.
Everybody knows this is a huge problem, but nobody wants to admit it.
Every single woman at the table said they wanted a man.
500K,
500K,
300K,
300K,
200K.
Am I crazy?
Everything is really set up against you to fail as a man.
If men make less than women, women don't want to marry them.
So you know who wants more economically and emotionally viable men? Women.
I don't want to be an independent woman anymore.
I don't want to be a strong, independent woman.
I'm over it.
When is it going to be my turn?
Where are we meeting the men that don't stop?
I can't keep having these same conversations.
The only simp here is you, Pearl. You simp for men.
I think you simp for women.
She's a provocateur. She says stupid stuff, but Pearl is right about this.
It's already happening. It's just not out in the open yet.
Now it's just hookup culture is going to be our fairy tale ending because men don't want a wife and women can't find a husband.
The future, if everybody follows your path, is there is no future.
We go into population decline, and our economy goes into decline.
Civilization will crumble.
The American story does not end well. This is an existential crisis, failing young men.
To bear with us as we figure out a technical issue in the new studio. But let me pull up the chat on YouTube now, and I'll see the judgments coming, or the not. I mean, it is what it is. Pearl's dropping truth prom. It's hard because Pearl is in the perspective lens of the individual. We're in the realm of groupthink. It's not clout for Charlie's wife. It's clout for political vengeance. Is it? Is it really, I guess, justified? I mean, do you want to be the face of a political cause? Your death. It just seems like that would be like a private moment. Tell these 304s what time it is. It's just business. I urge you guys, I want you to call in. I want you to. Is there a right or a wrong way to grieve? Is there ways that are inappropriate? What are they? I want to hear from the men, and you can be honest here. I'm not going to judge you either way. This is a real safe space. Could you pin it in the chat? And then could you email it to me too so I can send it to the people? Oh, it's the same meeting? Okay, it's just... Okay, then let me go back to... Yeah. All right, let's see what we got then. Okay, Doug MPA, are you back?
I'm here. What's going on?
Okay, so I want to first, before we get into Erica Kirk, I just want to say in general, is there a wrong way to mourn or to grieve? And what is it? What are ways that you would say are disrespectful?
You have to keep it about the person and not about you. And unfortunately, a lot of wives will make it about themselves instead of their husbands.
Okay, give me an example of how someone would do that.
So they'll just be doing too much at the funeral.
Oh,
So
that's
way too much crying.
Oh, that's
You know,
so common.
there
Oh,
were
sorry, go ahead.
they wear those big, huge sunglasses and like a big hat and some like big ornate dress, and then everyone's worried about how she's doing the whole time, and making sure she's okay instead of taking the time to remember the husband.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be about the husband, and now it becomes all about her.
Yep,
Wow.
you got it.
That was great,
It-
Doug. I think that's my favorite contribution you've ever made. That was a great one.
You become like Jackie Onassis. Jackie Onassis was one of the number one people where, JFK's assassination was as much about Jackie O as it was about JFK dying.
Really? I don't
Yeah.
remember. I wasn't alive. So what did she do?
No, she just everyone was talking about how Jackie O was grieving and they were watching her every single move and everything like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
No,
what?
no, I wasn't. I'm not that old. I wasn't there, but even on shows like The Sopranos, when one of the characters died, they had her wife pulling a Jackie O, where she walked in and everyone's. Then she looks at the body and she faints, and she has the glasses, and everyone's following her up to the casket, and she has the black dress on, and she's all crying and wailing and screaming and stuff. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Well, it's sad, but yeah, and I don't know what it is around death. It seems like there's never a conversation on appropriate and inappropriate, because if a woman does it, it's always deemed as appropriate. You're not allowed to say that's inappropriate, because death is such a sensitive topic, I think.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. I agree. What's another thing? Making the funeral about, and then
Yeah.
making an identity off of being someone's widow.
Okay, keep going.
Like there are women where they like Faith Evans. Faith Evans is Notorious B.I.G.'s wife.
Okay.
And I mean, she had an okay career, but she's like B.I.G.'s wife. They're just people were famous famous men, their wives get to ride the wave of them being his widow for the rest of their time on Earth.
What do
And
you
it all starts. Go ahead.
What do you think about the guy who made a song about Charlie Kirk's death? Did you see it?
I didn't see that.
Let me see. We're gonna decide if this is appropriate.
Did he write it before or after he died?
After.
Oh, man.
Well, there's one guy who did it before. That was that's why it's kind of weird. But that's the question I have is, I think they're live streaming the funeral. I just start to get a little, I guess who am I to say, but it seems kind of inappropriate when I see stuff like that. I don't know where this was, but there was a guy who wrote a song. I don't know where. He does conservative Christian like songs. I can see his face, but I can't. Do you know his name? What's his name?
Wait,
Not you, Doug. Hold on. What? Forgiato. I'm gonna see if this is our producer. It wouldn't surprise me if it's the white guy that almost has the cornrows. He said there's a million of those. Okay, I'm not gonna find it, but I just thought of it now. Go ahead.
It says John Rich, Sherry Carry the Flame, a Charlie Kirk tribute. Is that it?
Let me see. John Rich.
Carry the Flame.
All right, Carry the Flame. No, that's not it.
Oh, are you talking about the British guy that was making fun of Charlie Kirk and ended up getting his visa revoked? Are you talking about him?
Nope. I don't think you would know the guy who I'm talking about, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. I just saw, oh, do you know what? I think Ryan Stone might have tweeted about him. Because Ryan Stone, I mean, he kind of had some interesting tweets. Hold on, let me find it. My left? Okay. And I'm going to take the guys on the line in 1 second, guys. What? Oh, the right? Okay.
People are saying Tom McDonald.
That's
the song
it. Yeah, that's
called
it.
Charlie.
That's it.
Thanks, chat.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Okay, we're gonna. I don't think this will copyright because this isn't mainstream, but I may be wrong. We're gonna, you know what? If we'll trim it after the show if it gets copyright. Okay. Do I have to share? Can Doug MPA see it or hear it? Okay. Okay. It's a new studio, so we're just working through. Okay. So,
I'm watching on YouTube.
Okay,
I can watch on
okay,
YouTube with a
okay.
delay.
Okay. So this is the song.
Shot down and he was barely 31. Another woke coward took a life with a gun. He left behind a wife and a daughter and a son. All he did was try to speak for all of us. And I'm so tired of the hatred and the narratives. The patriots ain't dangerous, woke people are the terrorists. They shot and killed a father, sent a message to Americans. They ain't gonna stop until they bury us. Dear Charlie, I don't know if you can see us now, but if heaven has a window, I sure hope you're looking down. Cause we ain't going quiet, we gon' scream your name loud. And you're gone, but I swear to God that we gon' make you proud. We ain't.
Okay, that's all I'm gonna play, just in case we have to trim it. But I don't know. I mean, that's lyrically good. But it just seems like conservatives just all want to cash in on the guy's death. They're calling it like Kirk bucks on Twitter. What did you do with your Kirk bucks? Let me find something else. Okay. Why don't we bring up people on the call? Doug MPA, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I'm gonna bring in. Let's start with Joshua Gray. Hey, Joshua, how's it going? Let's start with Joshua Gray.
Good. Thanks for taking me.
Turn off the YouTube in the background.
Got it.
Okay, great. So what are your thoughts on the topic? Is there a right and a wrong way to mourn? And how did you feel about some of the things I brought up during the monologue?
Well, I think a lot of the AI videos I've been seeing are really annoying. I just think that's kind of insensitive. But I think, everybody grieves in a different way. And we shouldn't really judge too harshly the way his wife is grieving. And also, I think that the point that the assassin was trying to accomplish is to shut his speech down. And I think there's a defiance in the way that people are grieving his loss. And I guess the outgrowth of that defiance is that they want to amplify his movement even more. And so their grief is centered around not letting his message die. And that's sort of the thoughts that I had on that.
Great. Cool. So you think that in this case, it is acceptable because he cared so much about his movement and we really shouldn't judge?
Well, I think everybody grieves differently. Mm-hmm. And it is an awkward way to grieve for sure. I'm not going to, those thoughts that, you expressed have popped into my mind as well. So it's, I don't think your thoughts are unfounded, but when you look at what the assassin was trying to do, I think that's the way you can maybe get into their head a little bit, that they have this real defiance about them. Like they're angry that his speech was taken down. And then Charlie's entire life since he was like, what, 18 years old was
Yeah.
about this movement, that this speech, this turning point
Well,
USA.
Yeah, that's to be honest, that's why I also had that thought too, where you're thinking, well, his whole life was online. So it kind of, but what about in general? Have you ever seen somebody that you knew personally where you thought that the way they were grieving was a little bit weird, odd, or have you never had thoughts like that?
I haven't had a lot of people pass away in my orbit, so I haven't seen a lot of grief. And anybody that's passed away in my orbit has, it was expected. They were older or they were sick or there was no sudden. I mean, I don't know what I would do. Like if one of my children were to die or like one of my good friends were to die that I'm close to, I'm not sure that I even know what I would do, how I would react. And I think in situations where it's sprung on you out of the blue, everybody acts differently.
Cool. Great. Well, thanks so much. I appreciate the contribution. So call in anytime, okay?
Sure. Thank you. Enjoyed it.
We're gonna.
Pearl, I don't know if I've told you this, but it's kind of hard for me to relate on the subject because I've never been to a funeral before.
What?
Yeah, yep, never been.
You're older than you should. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I've never been to a funeral before.
Your grandparents didn't die?
So my parents had beef. Both my parents had beef with their parents and didn't go to their funerals.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So, never been to a funeral.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think I've been to less than 10, more than 4, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's see.
Everyone says you're fortunate. Yeah, I know, guys. I'm very fortunate. Don't think that I don't know how fortunate I am.
Okay. Okay. Hey Corey, how's it going? Make sure the YouTube isn't playing in the background and then unmute when you get a chance. You got to figure out how to unmute. I'll give you a few more seconds to figure it out. All right, I'm going to let you figure that out. Let me see. Put in the waiting room. Okay, we're going to try someone else. So guys, make sure that you unmute, turn the YouTube off in the background, and then, all right, Nick B, welcome to the show. Can you hear me?
NYCBI?
Yeah, I might have to update my name.
Oh, that's good. That's great. We can hear you good. So what are your thoughts on the topic? Do you think there's a right or a wrong way to mourn? And how did you feel about the marketing campaign after Charlie Kirk's death?
I think it's different. Like the way I look at it is you have rich people and you have poor people, and they both mourn very differently. Rich people, it's all about show, it's about presentation, it's about putting on the most elaborate thing you can put on. It is a circus, it is a play, it is meant to be this way. It always was, it always will be. That's just how it is when you're on center stage. Now, then you have poor people. They just want to be alone with their loved one. They want that loved one all to themselves. They don't want anyone else around. They just want to grieve, and it's not public. It's very different. But, you know, I respect both positions. I respect that that's just how it is.
Have you ever seen somebody mourning or grieving and you just thought that's not right or that's wrong? Like to the point where maybe you weren't offended, but you really thought that wasn't the right way to do it? Or have you always been indifferent like you seem to be? Or I guess you respect both. Go ahead.
I think people can feel what's really going on. People know when somebody's putting on a show because you can feel it. You know when they're being sincere because you can feel it. Now, I get that maybe narcissists or psychopaths might not have that ability, but you know, anyone who can relate to being maybe an empath or just being a sensitive person, I think they're going to pick up on the heart behind what's happening.
Yeah. And did you think that the turning point, what they're doing with it after, did you feel like it was genuine or did it seem performative to you?
Listen, when it's rich people, make a show. If you're going to make a show, make a show. Blow it out of proportion. Get ridiculous with it. Like, I mean, if you're going to bring in comedy, bring in comedy. If you're going to bring in tears, bring in tears. If you're going to bring the spotlight on yourself and just flash that spotlight everywhere, go for it. Let's make it exactly what it is supposed to be. And why even play around with anything else? Either this is going to be a poor funeral where it's the opposite, or it's going to be a rich funeral. Make it rich. Make it the 4th of July. Make it the, I don't know, some big event, you know, the Christmas tree lighting. Make it New Year's. Just, you know, make it pop.
Yeah. Cool. Well, great contribution. I never thought about rich versus poor people. I always think men versus women. I didn't think rich versus poor. So great. That was a great point. Thanks for calling in.
You betcha.
Okay, we're going to get next. Oh no, I accidentally almost, okay. Let me make this higher so I can see better. Okay, let's do divinity. Divinity, welcome to the show. Please make sure the YouTube is off in the background. So what are your thoughts? Is there a right or a wrong way to grieve and or mourn? And what were your thoughts on the marketing campaign?
Okay, hi Pearl and hi everyone. If I was to say if there was a right or wrong way to mourn, I would first off say arguing over somebody's will is definitely not a good way to mourn. So
Ooh, good.
that's my
That was a good one. I love it. I love it when callers, so far Doug MPA said something I wouldn't have thought of. 3 callers today said something. You guys are impressing me. Go ahead. Keep going. Didn't mean to cut you off. You're cooking.
Hey, I mean, it's happening in my personal life. So this is the script of my life. So, you know, I just being a little personal here, but I'm glad you guys like it. And then as far as the whole campaign goes, I mean, I think that there was a wax body in that casket. Like, who knows if that was even really him or not. But I think that it's kind of disturbing. I wouldn't want my body to be put on social media in an open casket. So let's just say it like that.
Yeah. So wait, tell me what's happening in your personal life. You know, give me the tea. What are they arguing over?
Oh, they're arguing over my grandma's will right now.
Who's arguing this? The kids?
My mom.
Oh, okay. And who is she arguing with? Her brother?
Yeah, you nailed it. Yep.
Yeah. And what's the disagreement? Was there discrepancies in the will? Did she not have one? Does someone want more?
Someone wants more. My mom wants more because she's a greedy little bitch, and she wants me to sign over for her, but she won't even offer me more. Like, what a scam.
How do you get more? Because I thought it's pretty cut and dry. Doesn't the person decide who gets what before they die?
Exactly, but she's trying to fight it. So why would you fight someone's will after they're already dead? She's already dead, so just let it be.
Oh yeah, that's a terrible way to mourn. Great contribution. I'm sorry that's happening to you, but that is I've heard that
Thanks,
before,
Pearl.
though. I've heard that before. So thanks for calling in.
Honestly, love the show. Love you a lot. Keep doing what you're doing, Pearl. You're great.
Thanks for calling in.
Bye.
Bye. That was such a good one. I love it when people say things I never would have thought of. Even though that one I feel like I should have thought of because I know I've heard of that happening before. Yeah, I've heard of. Hey Matt, make sure you mute the YouTube in the background.
Yeah, it's muted. How's it going?
Good. Oh, Matt. See, I'm bad with I'm bad with names, but when I see the faces, I know who it is. So.
Thanks for the beard, eh?
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the topic? Is there a right or a wrong way to mourn? And what did you think about the marketing campaign?
Okay, so there's two different ways of looking at this. There's in general, and then there's this situation specifically.
Yeah. So let's do in general first, and then the situation.
In general, no, there's no right or wrong way to mourn. I'm just gonna say if I was the guy being carried by 6, all right, it ain't gonna matter to me because I'm dead. Okay. I'm not, it's like, how can I, right? So if I had a wife and kids and she made it all about her, well, fine, you might as well, what happens is she lacks connection, right? So she's got to build a new one. And if you've got access to the resource to make it all about her, well, might as well use it. Maybe you might be able to recover quicker. Who knows, right? Maybe you're lucky you have that resource and maybe you don't, like other people do. Might as well use it. But in this particular situation, like you said, like it seems staged kind of thing, I don't think it's wrong. See, I've had ever since the grade C Charlene 1-9er scam that took the world, and I really stand by that. I start asking questions. When information comes out of nowhere and it's suddenly everywhere, I start asking questions. Like I've never even heard of this guy until we heard of the Great Death. And then all I see is politicians trying to capitalize on it, take more from us, use it, throw in more restrictions, throw in more gun control. And that's all I see. So for a long time, I've just turned it off. So when I see this particular situation, I see a lot of questions about its validity. Like maybe this guy's got a big riding. I don't know. I'm not in the US, but in Canada here, I've never heard of this guy.
Oh, he is huge here. He is.
I know he is, and and that's tragic. And I'm not saying I'm going to put this guy down, or he didn't have any merit, or he didn't have, if there wasn't a cause that he was fighting for. But it seems off to me. Like it seems like it's like 3-letter agencies are involved in pushing an agenda forward. And they're just using people's feelings and emotions to push it forward. And that's where this particular situation seems wrong.
These are
like it's not. So go ahead.
I think this is my best round of callers. That's a really good point. Because it's like people are really upset about it. And so they're using people being upset to drain you of your money, resources, time, and attention, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Push more legislation. And that's what I see this as. And I see them and versus us. And people fighting, and you're not looking at the people who are really doing the damage in the background that you're not seeing. And that's what I see.
Yeah. Wow. Great callers. Yeah, I would not have thought of that either. So thanks for calling in, Matt.
Anytime.
Always good to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
Wow, we have just had good point after good point. I usually have somebody waste my time in this string. What do you like? This has just been like a string of like solid point. Who's next? Corey, don't let me down, Corey. You're next. Make sure your YouTube is not playing in the background. And then, let's see if you figured out how to unmute. You got to unmute.
You're still muted, buddy.
Cool.
You're still muted. You're putting in the chat. I'm unmuted. I'm unmuted. And you're not
Yeah,
unmuted.
I'm sorry, Corey. Yeah, you're bound. Oh, meant to put him in the waiting room. If you're watching, Corey, you can re-enter, but you're in the back of the line. You got to figure out your tech. All right, we got delusional women is the handle. Make sure the YouTube is not playing in the background. And yeah, are you there? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. So, do you think there's a right? Do you think there's a right and a wrong way to mourn? And what are your thoughts on the marketing campaign?
Hey, how's it going, Pearl? I think people are mourning differently too. We're looking at things from a different perspective now. These people that have been on social media their whole life, comparing Kirk's wife to Jackie Onassis is kind of a long stretch, but I think, these people seek attention, right? So we're in this dystopian time where we're looking at things and they're kind of unbelievable to see from a common sense point of view, or we're looking at people that a lot of people are feeling relating to, but the average person can't really relate to Charlie Kirk, so it's some delusion there, I think, for sure.
No, keep going.
Yeah, and the campaign, just obviously it's very thought out, right? There's a woman grieving, and there's a person with the camera. It's very performative and calculated. I don't really know how to take it. Everybody does. It's cliche, but everybody does grieve differently, and when there's a spotlight around and cameras and followers, and I think people can't really be genuine, and someone that has lived in the shadows of a celebrity husband probably is very hard to relate to for the average person, I would imagine. So
Yeah.
probably why it feels so weird. So
yeah. I agree. I agree. Thank you for calling in. Call in anytime, okay?
Hey, yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Okay. So next we got Hannibal. All right, Hannibal. You don't have to do all that. You could just turn the camera off.
Well, you said you wanted a camera on, so here we are.
Well, I do give preference, but it kind of defeats the purpose when you have a ski mask on.
Well, there you go. So,
sorry. Men find a workaround for everything. You guys are so funny. Okay, go ahead.
You know it. So there's a psychological mechanism inside everybody that when we lose control over a situation, we try to do all that we can to regain control over a situation. So to some people that might be, in Charlie's case, right, he had this whole mission statement and everything. So to regain control over a situation of trying to figure out that, okay, he's gone, that would be continuing his mission. To someone else, that might just be going out and just hiking in the woods for 3 days because they're essentially doing the same thing. You're regaining control of the situation in that you're alone, he's gone type of thing.
And so
whatever it is, it's just, to a certain extent, it's just grasping at straws.
Okay, so you don't find it performative, but you think it's just the way that they're trying to regain control of a situation by continuing his mission. Because they're losing control by losing the guy in charge.
maybe not even regain control over the situation, but regain control over their perception of the situation.
Yeah.
That's
That,
my guess.
yeah, no, that's a really good point of view. Do you have anything else you want to add on it? I appreciate the differing point of view, so I think it's really good.
That's what I got.
All right,
So.
cool. I can't, the ski mask is cracking me up. I won't lie.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
All right, thanks.
Hilarious.
He's like, I will get to the front of the line. Camera off. Although in this way, I can't see, so I actually don't know, but on the Zoom.
Guys.
We had to go back to, with the new set, to Zoom. There will be times when we use StreamYards, but you guys have been much better this show. Like, it's been way better. Some
Guys,
hiccup.
make sure to like the.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Just make sure to like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can be a member on the channel. The first tier is less than a cup of coffee, so hit that join button and come on over to the audacitynetwork.com to join Pearl's website. It's $10 a month, and you get access to all of our old content. And if you're in the chat, if you put Pearl Read, she will read all of your chats over there. So make sure to go over there. Steve M and myself are putting links in the chat, so go ahead and click. And also, don't forget to donate to the divorce documentary. And all super chats go towards the divorce documentary as well. So hit that super chat button.
The other cool thing, too, is that I think next month we're actually going to figure out something with the divorce documentary. So I think we're actually going to pick an editor probably in the next month and a half, maybe. Because we have got enough money to get started on the documentary, not to finish it, but at least to start, and then we'll go from there. And I was thinking, if you guys are on the website, you could help direct it. So I was thinking once a week I could show you guys like what we're working on. And then it would be cool to get like a test group of people that can give us feedback on like what parts they were entertained or not. Or even if it's a YouTube link and there's drop time. We'd have to figure out a way to maintain the privacy, but if we have it screened somehow, because I can't have it leaked. I want the documentary to be free. I want it to be on YouTube. So if we get enough donations, then we can actually make that happen. So, all right, next we're going to do Jeff again. Let's see if he figured out. All right, Jeff, I need you to turn off the YouTube in the background. And
Hi.
How's it going? So
Very good.
Today we're talking about, is there a right or wrong way to grieve? And what did you think of the marketing campaign after Charlie Kirk's death?
So I have a background as a chaplain, and I'm a professional at helping people grieve. So
We have had the best calls today. I think these are the best calls I've ever had. Go ahead. I was like, what a perfect person to call in. Go ahead.
So in terms of wrong, it's pretty hard to achieve a wrong state, but I would say that the wrong state is where it comes into conflict with other people's ability to grieve as they see fit. So it's basically kind of like it's a gray barrier, I guess. So it really depends on the background of people you're dealing with. But in terms of like kind of like out there things, like if you look across the world and like how people grieve, there's all kinds of ways that goes down, and a lot of it would be cringe to Western audiences. So there's still people that are like, like the Mayans, for example, will dig up their family's skulls and have meals with them once a year, things like that. In terms of what we saw with Charlie and the viewing of the body, the significance of viewing a body in a funeral is that it gives you the experience that their death is a reality. It takes people a while to really integrate the death of someone. And Charlie, of course, was a public figure. So this grieving process is a public process. So I do agree with it. I'm glad she didn't show his face. I think the hands were okay.
So what do you,
yeah.
have you ever seen anything in your line of work where you thought maybe it wasn't okay, but you maybe thought it was too attention seeking or too, like, was there ever a time where you worked at a funeral and you just thought it kind of was like a little bit too far for you?
Um, well, I think the last funeral I was at was for a Christian friend, college friend, and one of the people got up and just used the moment to preach kind of fire and brimstone, get your life right, and get with God. And it was basically had questionable relation to anything about the deceased. So it's kind of like very much an ad post for Jesus. So yeah, I was a bit cringe on that,
I
but
have
I let it slide.
I have an uncle who would do that. Yeah, but yeah, it's the thing because it's such a sensitive time. No one's gonna say anything.
Yeah.
What are the biggest differences you've seen uh in the way that men grieve and their spouse dying and the way that women grieve when their spouse is dying or has died? What's the biggest
Hmm.
difference?
Um, if men, well, if and when men break, they break a lot harder than women do. Like women just kind of like they start a sob and it's kind of like a soft wave, and men it's like cataclysm when they gotta stop and like the whole world stops for them basically. So it's kind of, I don't know. I'd say men are more dramatic sometimes when they're really truly emotionally grieving.
Okay.
Cool. Great.
Is it
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I did have one more thing. Uh, well, so what we all witnessed, essentially, I'm worried that what we had was a mass trauma event because people all witnessed what happened to Charlie. And my concern is that we're going to have a mass psychological uh, traumatic event or development of acute and long-term traumas for the people who witnessed that, both there and even just through media, because so many people interacted with his content, and you make some kind of a connection there. So when you have this visceral experience of someone dying, that's very easily gonna uh, create a significant amount of people who are going to have this trauma that's going to endure. And so, yeah, it's gonna be a real issue.
How do you think that'll play out? Like, so people have this trauma, but what will happen?
Um, well, people, as we've already noticed, like people are more volatile right now. So they're more likely to react or act out as a result of this. Um,
Okay, so you're saying they'll be like, they might do crazy things basically in
uh,
retaliation.
yeah, and for the people who experience what's called like acute trauma, they might to start to develop symptoms that become um, intrusive. Like basically, they begin to limit your ability to function because you'll find yourself caught in a state of dissociation where you're basically like in a caught state of freezing.
Yeah.
And so that freezing, what happens like if, like say between, so PTSD takes like at least 6 months, like it takes between 3 to 6 months to develop in a permanent way. But in that first 3 months, it's it's more of acute. But what's happening is that there's kind of a feedback loop where like your reptilian brain is hyperactive, and so it's recognizing stress as trauma or stressors as like life threatening. or potentially life-threatening. So it's like a misreading or a mischaracterization of stressors as life-threatening issues. So that's what I mean. Like people are potentially going to be more volatile.
Wow, good point. Yeah, I never really thought of that. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, my pleasure. I don't mean to plug myself, but I will be
Go ahead.
making content for it to address the drama.
Okay, cool. What's
Right,
what's
thank
your
you.
channel?
It's Buddhist Priest.
Buddhist priest. All right, thank you. Oh, actually, a question. What is a Buddhist priest? Yeah, okay. We're gonna do D. Williams. D. Williams, make sure the YouTube isn't playing in the background. So what are your thoughts on the topic? Is there a right or wrong way to grieve, and what did you think of the marketing campaign? We got no. Can you hear me? Okay, you're going back in the waiting room. We're gonna have Corey next. Hey, Corey.
Hello?
Hey, so
Can you hear me?
there he is. There you go.
Hey,
All
we
right.
in there.
Yeah. So, what do you think of the topic? Is there a right and a wrong way to grieve? And what did you think of the marketing campaign?
So the grieving situation is a little strange for me. I will say when I first seen that video and with her like kissing the hands, I thought that was strange. Now I have seen strange behavior at funerals before. I've seen my little sister. It was my mom who passed away, but she was like she showed up in a veil. She showed up in a veil to the funeral, and I just made it a lot more dramatic than any of her other children, which I am one of. And so I have seen people have just kind of bizarre reactions that are not exactly like obviously my little sister didn't have a campaign going on for my mother. It was just this natural reaction she had to it, and it was bizarre to me. It actually frustrated me. So when I think about that, I do look at her situation and understand that like she is, as if the most traumatized out of anyone. So maybe that's why it seems a little weird. But then there's also the dynamic that she is trying to help step into the role that he played in Turning Point. And I wonder if she is, if there is some political motivation there. Obviously, it's going to have some political effect. So it's awkward. It's hard. There's a lot of factors that apply to why anything's the way it is. So it's hard to put your finger on one reason why that was the way it was. I don't think that it, for the most part, was completely politically motivated. There's just so much trauma involved in what she's going through right now that I think that's the biggest factor that applies to why she's moving in any sort of way.
So you think she's really traumatized, so she's kind of doing this whole campaign as a way to cope.
Well, when you call it a campaign, is that like the words you're putting on it, or is that the words they're putting on it? Like,
well, it's a market. Like, I mean, when you send emails and texts for donations over a death, it's a marketing campaign.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I would just say it's a marketing campaign.
Well, have you seen the people who are trying to it's pretty deep conspiracy stuff, but I've seen people trying to paint maybe there's some sort of prophecy involved in this where apparently like a woman takes the reins on like what's the words for it? It's like she will lead the world out of these evil ways. Some people I've heard people make the relation there that like she could be the woman of this, like, and I've never even heard of the prophecy or whatever this thing they were
Look, I
referring
mean,
to.
I just women in charge of things just always leads to destruction. So if she's in charge of it, which I don't know, it could just be like
Well, not
a fr-
necessarily in charge, but like lead the way as far as the face of it because of the movement. Because you know
yeah.
somebody's looking at it from that dynamic. Probably
Yeah.
not her at this moment, but they would love for her to ride this wave.
Not,
And
I mean, she could be the public person, but running an organization I mean, that's difficult and pretty much impossible for women to do. Big organizations like that. I mean, usually if they do it, there's a man doing the work.
yeah,
She's
I
got,
mean, I'm not here
yeah.
to really draw that line in the
Mm.
sand. Because I don't really associate to like that, you know, a woman can't get the job done. I don't, yeah, I don't especially feel that way that a woman couldn't get the job done. I think as long as your heart's in the right place, that you can get the job done. Anybody can. And so if they are
I don't think most men can. I mean that's a tough job. Do you know what I'm saying?
the
Like
oh,
that's
absolutely. I mean,
my point is she's not like qualified anyway. She's a mom, which is cool, but like that's very different from running like an organization with hundreds of people.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah.
the critical period is going to be the next 8 to 10 months. If she
Yeah.
steps out ahead of this and takes his place, you're going to find out in 8 to 10 months if
Like
she's effective
I
or
don't
not.
know. I saw a lot of people criticizing that I think Ben Shapiro might take over. But I just thought he's probably one of the only few that are qualified that can do it. I mean,
I
who could run a company that big, a media company? There's not many like heads really.
well, I think it could be a group effort because one of the crazy things about this is that we all could not get away from witnessing that murder. I did not intentionally watch that, but
Mm.
I went on X, and then before you can even hit play, the video is
Yeah.
already playing for you. You see it happen. So there's, you know, probably 85% of the people on social media witnessed that, and I mean, that's millions of people. We've never seen anything like this in our lives.
Mhm.
And so I think the wave that can come from this is hopefully what I'm hopeful for is a team effort where if a Ben Shapiro wants to show up and assist in this goal of realizing what is righteous and and putting just a good foot out and everybody, and then we'll pick up where he leaves off. And then, you know, who knows, this is the first time I've ever hopped on a live stream by any means.
Mhm.
And part of the reason why I'm here is because of Charlie's passing. And who knows where this might lead me.
Mhm.
Maybe sooner or later I buy a pop-up tent and I'm pulling up. You know, this has struck a nerve
Yeah.
with a lot of people, and I'm hoping that it can just,
Yeah, I
you know,
would
take off and go the right direction.
I'd let that hope die, unfortunately. I
You'd let that hope die.
hell yeah.
Why say, what do you mean by that?
Because I think it's mean to sell hope, and I don't foresee this changing much. I mean, you have to understand, I live in the media cycle, so when Kevin Samuels died, a lot of people said things would change, and this would, you know,
Well, with
nothing.
that,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if everybody felt the way you felt, then nothing would change. But if everybody feels the way I feel, then a lot would change. If everybody in the world
no,
right
but
here,
You can feel how you want to feel,
no, no, no.
but how do your feelings turn? Like feelings don't always turn into tangible actions, especially in a world where people consider you. Oh yeah, we're gonna fight, and by fighting they mean I'm gonna post on TikTok and Instagram. Understand what I'm saying?
Right?
Yeah.
So you can feel what you want, but how are your feelings going to turn into tangible outcomes? And
That's
honestly, like a lot of
understandable.
things that people feel,
I'm a big believer that belief is the number one reason why anything ends up the way it ends up. If you believe that the reason why you're not feeling well is because you drink too much coffee and you continue to drink more coffee, then you're gonna not feel well. If you believe that if you stop drinking,
How old are you?
I'm 30.
Oh.
So if you believe, like, belief is huge. So if everybody in the world right here in this moment believed that their actions in the next 10 minutes would change the world for the better, I think that they would go do a lot in
Yeah.
those 10 minutes.
Yeah, the
to-
challenge is I've just interviewed a lot of people that thought they could change the world. And they're the ones.
Well, it's
they're-
not gonna
they're-
happen
They're the
quickly.
ones. They're the ones. Hold on. They're the ones that go crazy, unfortunately. Like
And also, I'm sorry.
No,
Pearl, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
There's the human factor in it. Okay, first off, most people are lazy. Second off, most people have a short attention span. Third, most people have a comfort and convenience level. Okay, if it gets uncomfortable, they're not going to do it. So you have to get how many people are going to get past those 3 rungs? What percentage of people? I'd say less than 10%.
I'd say
So,
less than 5%.
And
And out of them, which of those will have the power to do it? And you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I have a platform, and I feel as though I have very little power to change things. And I would say I have more influence than most. So imagine if you're just a normal guy working a normal job. I'm like, what? Yeah, good luck.
yeah, and that's not saying that we don't want things to change, but Pearl always says that hope is not a strategy.
Yeah.
And so if things change, you welcome it, but just don't be disappointed if it doesn't.
I like to manage expectations because the thing is, they say I'm a doomer, but I'm like, we just got to manage our expectations. I would not want you to get your hopes up. All right, but thanks for calling, Corey. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next guy. We got a lot of callers today. Let's do John J. John J, make sure the YouTube's off in the background. Thanks for calling in. So what are your thoughts on, is there a right or a wrong way to mourn? And what did you think of the marketing campaign for Charlie Kirk after his death?
Well, everybody should mourn how they feel is appropriate. Now, because Charlie was such a public figure, I could see why Erica is doing what she's doing to promote Turning Point and the company. But I'm torn between what's appropriate and what needs to be done. Yesterday, I put it in your I put a super chat in on your chat. I did a 17-minute video on what needs to be done moving forward from here, and there's 5 points. None of it has to do with pulling out the guns and start shooting.
Oh, really? Give me 2 things that need to be done.
Well, I think the first thing that needs to be done is these companies, these old legacy companies, if they start labeling, this is the same as calling fire in a theater. If you start falsely labeling people as fascists and Nazis, your FCC license gets pulled. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's the first thing that needs to be done. We need to put these. Chris Rock said this is really why this happened. He really lays out that the old legacy media, full of leftists, full of Marxists, they hate anything conservative. They've been doing this for 3 generations, and this got to come to an end. And the only way you control this is the government comes in. Is if you falsely label and spread propaganda, your license is pulled. It's gone. You get fines first. You maybe fine a fat fine, and then the next level is to pull the FCC license and then take your network right off the airwaves. You're no longer allowed to broadcast. And then the next one, as far as these radical groups, is you have to cut off the funding via bank seizures. And then these guys that are actually funding these radical groups, they need to be held accountable. They need to be charged with racketeering and seditious conspiracy. This is the only way you can control this nonsense. This stuff's been going on since the late 50s, early 60s. and it really ramped up after Jack Kennedy was killed in Dallas. And I don't see a peaceful solution, but there's 5 steps, barring outright violence, to do what it takes to bring in these Marxists and bring in these hardcore leftists and rein them in, because these inflammatory labels,
well,
they keep doing it. They're just going to get that. People are just going to take the law in their own hands.
And I'll go along with your point on your first point. Mainstream media is dying. It's on the decline forever. Well, except Fox News. Fox News is actually thriving even after that lawsuit.
Right.
But the major left-wing outlets, they're ramping everything up to be able to get the viewers and to be able to stay on the air. So they're going to get worse and worse, because that's the only way that their medium can stay alive. That's why you've seen the rhetoric amp up the last 5 years, because they're literally on their last leg. MSNBC literally got sold off. I think they're MS Now or something like that. Yeah. So
I just think the FCC under Trump needs to start pulling FCC broadcasting licenses.
Yeah.
Just,
do you foresee that?
That's what it's going to come down.
Do you foresee that happening?
I do.
Yeah.
We're not going to tolerate this. You know, we haven't had a major assassination since Martin in this country. Martin was the last one. They almost got Reagan in '81, and thank God they didn't. But I see a very strong response to this nonsense. This labeling has got to stop.
Yeah.
It's got to stop, and it's got to stop now.
Where can they watch your video? Why don't you shout it out?
It's on Roll Man Life. It's on. It'll be on IG. It'll be on YouTube, and I got it on Rumble.
Cool. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks, Pearl. I appreciate it. Thanks.
This is the best callers that we have had.
That was a nice flag you had.
Yeah, everyone's right to the point. Everybody, you guys are great. This is amazing. And what I love is even when people disagree, it's just, it's because this isn't meant to be this one. There are conversations that are meant to be more debate-like, but this is just to give your thoughts. D. Williams, feel free to unmute, but make sure YouTube is not playing in the background. What are your thoughts on the topic? Is there a right or a wrong way to grieve? And what did you think of the marketing campaign? All right, we got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, there he made it.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
We can hear you, buddy.
I'm sorry, I keep missing the opportunity. I don't know if you all can hear me.
You're still here. Hello? D. Williams, are you there? Turn off the YouTube in the background, please.
I removed him. Look, you guys got to get your... look, guys, in the most respectful way possible, I can't do this 10-second audio delay, and I'm going to have to work with Zoom for the time being. You guys got to figure out the Zoom. When I called into a lot of shows and I figured out the Zoom, so it's nothing against you guys. I understand technology is hard, but Zoom is not the hardest thing in the world. Okay, we're gonna do Anthony. Is that who we just did, or no? Is that, I can't remember.
No, not Anthony.
Okay.
Anthony's iPhone. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
See, he got it. All right, Anthony. Welcome to the show. So do you think there's a right or a wrong way to mourn? And what did you think of the marketing campaign after Charlie Kirk's death?
No, there's not a right or wrong way to do it, but I was looking forward to the video just to see what she had to say. I didn't know much about her or really Charlie too much either, but now all of a sudden I'm captivated. And then she started talking, and then I was kind of like weirded out a little bit. And then I got through more of the speech, and to be honest with you, I just had to turn it off because it did seem like a little forced. Now the trouble is like she has so many people around her telling her like you got to do this, you got to do that, and now she's under extreme pressure to like do something because she feels like that's the right thing, and this came
Yeah.
off kind of not genuine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And
how.
I did.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I did have to shut it off. I couldn't even listen to the rest of it. I was like, oh, okay, I see what this is, and I feel bad to say that because it is a very traumatic experience, but I couldn't get through it. I was like, oh man, I just gotta shut this thing off. So I don't know about the campaign, but I could only imagine. And yeah, it seems like a little funny, but the world is a stage, and unfortunately, she's just part of it and going through the motions.
Yeah. I had the same thought when I saw the speech, but you don't mean to be judgmental, but you just kind of it's
You
sometimes
got an ick, got like a
yeah.
little funny feeling. Like I was like, oh, like I've had enough already.
Yeah, you just kind of think it just seems performative, and when it's something as serious as a funeral, it just gives you a weird feeling. Is the best way I could describe it.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like JD Vance wrote that speech for her or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just like
I didn't think of that. See, the callers today, you guys are on point. I mean,
it's like,
JD, I wouldn't have thought of that.
with somebody
Yeah.
wrote it for her, but it's not like her true genuine words. And she's trying to be that strong woman right now, but I think really she should have just like chilled out for a little bit or something, because I know everybody wants to hear what she has to say, but it just came out kind of funny.
Yeah. I agree. Thanks so much for calling in.
Thank you. Bye.
This was a good round.
I hope that Erica doesn't try to do her best version of Charlie.
Mhm.
Because Charlie had a honest passion for
Mhm.
what he was doing and loved what he was doing, and I'm hoping that she doesn't try to be him. If she does step up to the plate, where she kind of makes it her own version instead of trying to be him, because you can't be him. You know what I'm saying?
I hope she doesn't do
So
it at all. I mean, she's got two
yeah,
young kids. Yeah.
yeah.
But the challenge you're going to get is she's going to get more praise for doing Charlie Kirk than she will get raising her children. And I just, yeah.
100% true. Dang,
And
that's a good one.
yeah, and
Wow.
I just have the feeling that she will pick the praise of Turning Point over the praise of her kids. Because most women, that's kind of our default, right? We'd rather have the praise of the internet than the praise of our husbands. We'd rather have the praise of the world for looking like a mother rather than being one, just in general. Not saying she is. So, yeah, putting a woman in charge of anything in general, this is partially comedy. Haha, I just have to say that on YouTube. But it, it just always, it just, there's, look at, I have a passion for media, and even I could not manage like the amount of people I had. She is not qualified to do that job. She's just not. Uh, that is a stressful, hard job. I don't even blame Ben Shapiro for talking about taking it over because from what I see, I can't think of another person that's at least public facing that has the qualifications. I I don't know who else would do it. Everyone's saying who else would do it other than Erica. I'm like, I don't know anybody that's qualified, but she ran like a sweatshirt company and then married Charlie and became a housewife. You know what I mean? What does she know about running an organization?
That's true.
I mean, I'm my father's daughter, but I couldn't have run his organization, you know.
They were talking about um the owner from the Indianapolis Colts died and his daughter took over, and you see all this rate because she's on the sidelines with the headset, like listening to all the coaches and stuff. But she was literally raised in the industry. Like she's been a part of the organization since she graduated college, and so she knows what she's doing, and the culture is actually doing really really well. So if it were a situation like that, where she had some kind of experience or she was kind of groomed like that. But yeah, you're right. Erica has no
I mean,
experience at all. None.
if I'm being honest, even her, my gut just says it's probably a man doing most of the work. I'm sorry,
Wouldn't surprise me either.
I just have never met a woman in my life that could manage people well. I don't think we have the temperament. I think we're too emotional. So just when we're the boss, you can't have an emotional boss. You want an emotional employee.
That's true.
Very because true. The emotional employee, the boss can say like, chill out, but yeah, employee. Well, I think I'm gonna end the show a little early today because I started late. But guys, this was great callers. This is great, to be honest. My final thoughts are: I do wish Erica Kirkwell. I would suggest if she watches this, not to take over Turning Point. I would just focus on your kids. I'm not really a big fan of the marketing campaign, but I can also see the other perspective that maybe because he was so public, maybe there needs to be a public grieving. You could argue. If you had to put gun to my head, I would say it's more disrespectful than respectful. But hey, I'm not God, so that's just my 2 cents. Doug and PA, what are your final thoughts?
I'm right there with you. I think that she should have took a little bit of time. I don't think that they should have broadcast the funeral. I wouldn't. I'm just some dude, but I wouldn't want my funeral broadcast. And then yeah, I'm hoping that she doesn't try to be Charlie because there's never going to be another one. I'm like you. I hope that she focuses on her family and someone another man steps in, and I feel like something is going to happen from Charlie Kirk's death, like something big. There's going to be a response. I just don't know what. So I'm just eagerly waiting to see what happens, and I'm hoping that Erica stays, keeps the cringe to a minimum if she's going to be involved in all this stuff. So.
Do you see any super chats? I don't know why. I'm like not.
The Roulette had one earlier.
Could you read it? I don't know why on my computer it's not pulling up.
So Rural Man Life had a $9.99 super chat. He said, I have a 17-minute video on five concrete actions the government and public can do to address the Marxist ideology and its evil tentacles infecting society and common good. I think he was on here, though. I think that was him.
Okay.
And then Roulette Wheel has a $10 super chat. He says, something about Charlie is different. I've never shed any tear for anyone until Charlie Kirk. He was a good man, and the way he died was tragic.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you guys all for watching. These calls were great. So if we could keep this quality of caller up, that would be amazing. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also go to theaudacitynetwork.com. Some of these conversations are a little bit too controversial for YouTube. So at some point, I'd like to do actual shows on the website of like very controversial topics that we literally can't touch on YouTube. So, but we need to get enough people on the website to justify doing that. So anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, pretty much, guys. If you want to see Nick F.
Oh yeah, if you guys want to see
Pearl go, back on. If you want to see Nick F. and Pearl interact, it has to be on the website. I think it would be entertaining, but YouTube does not like that guy.
Yeah.
So if we get enough callers, maybe we could subscribe on the website. Maybe we could facilitate that.
Yeah, and if I get enough people on the website, then we could justify bringing on more controversial people. But free speech does come at a cost, and at the moment, I'm at YouTube's feet, so we really got to get enough people so I could bring on more crazy people. But anyways, guys, like the video, subscribe.